I thought I had a strong faith. I used to wonder why God would let so many painful things happen to me. But now I see He was trying to get my attention.
Whether you're seeking true stories, real-life Christian testimonies, uplifting moments, or just a little bit of hope, you can find it here. This is Kingdom Chronicles. Sometimes we grow up around faith, the one that we inherited from our family, but we never really make it our own. It's easy to believe when life feels safe, but when life gets hard and everything starts to shake, that's when what we truly believe gets tested, and faith becomes more important. In today's story, you'll hear how one woman went from a comfortable surface-level faith to discovering what a real relationship with God looks like, especially when life hit harder than she ever expected. This is Samantha's testimony.
Hi, I'm Samantha. I was born into a Christian family, saved at the age of 3, and grew up attending church basically every time the church doors were open. By anyone's standards, I was a good Christian girl. But the fact is, I was just a good weather Christian, one who did my devotions and kind of had a relationship with God when it was convenient and comfortable. I had everything going for me. My dad had a great job, I had a big loving family, and I felt really secure. But the time came when I had to evaluate how I really was doing in my walk with the Lord, and it wasn't very good. In June of 2015, my 2-year-old brother had an asthma attack and stopped breathing on the way to the hospital. The Lord graciously spared his life, allowing the medical personnel to start him breathing again seconds before it was too late. As you can imagine, this really made me stop and think, what am I really depending on to get me through trials in life? But life went on. My brother came back from the hospital and everything went back to normal, unfortunately, including my casual relationship with the Lord.
If stories like this resonate with you and you believe in honest, faith-centered conversations, please consider subscribing to the channel. We'd love for you to be a part of our growing community. Now, let's get back to the story.
Then, in July, the day after my baby sister was born, my grandma found my grandpa dead in their house. This was very unexpected, and I had been very close to him. I started to react the wrong way against God.
I found myself asking, why me? What have I done to deserve this?
I was careful not to express my feelings out loud, but inside I was doubting God. As much as possible, our lives returned to somewhat normalcy. There was a big hole in our family, but I tried to ignore it. Then, in August, as my mom was driving me to the doctor's office for a strep test, a car ran a red light and hit our van in an 80-mile-an-hour head-on collision. During the ambulance ride to the hospital, holding my mom's hand, I again thought, why me? Haven't I been through enough this summer? Why would a loving God allow these horrible things to happen to a good girl like me? It was lying in bed that night after getting home from the hospital that I realized that God was trying to get my attention. The trials He had allowed in my life that summer were part of His plan to draw me closer to Him. He loved me and wanted a deep personal relationship with me, just what He desires with all people. In that moment, I made the decision to ask God to forgive me for doubting Him, for questioning His sovereign plan for me. And I also asked Him to forgive me for not having the deep relationship with Him that He desired with me. My spiritual life has been different since then. It hasn't been perfect, but I have experienced God's wonderful grace and love towards me, and I never want to lose that relationship with my God.
Samantha's testimony is a powerful picture of the difference between knowing about God and actually knowing Him. She grew up surrounded by faith, but her relationship with God stayed shallow because life felt predictable. It felt safe, it felt controlled. What stands out in her story is how quickly comfort can disguise spiritual complacency, and how God sometimes allows the ground to shake so our hearts can finally wake up. Each hardship she faced, it really exposed what she was truly depending on and revealed that a borrowed faith, it can't carry us through real storms. Her turning point wasn't simply surviving those moments, but it was recognizing that God was inviting her into something a bit deeper, a faith that's more personal, it was chosen, and it was rooted in trust rather than just circumstance. Her testimony reveals to us that even in our broken moments, God is always there, bringing us closer to His heart.